Hey there, how's it going? I'm Gabriel. So I'm here in my room in Seoul in South Korea. I've been in South Korea and in Seoul for just like 3-4 days now. And a couple of days ago then I had an interesting experience that at the time seemed pretty benign. I didn't really realize that it was part of something larger that might have been a bad experience if I had gone through with it. But I wanted to tell the story because this is definitely something you want to keep your eyes open for and try to get out of if you end up having a similar experience to mine, which happened on the street, walking down the street here in Dongdaemun is the name of the street near the Sangwang Simni subway station, if I'm saying that right, which is near to my hotel here. And so a couple of evenings ago, I think it was 2 days ago, then I was walking along the street after just having had dinner. It was around like maybe 8:30 in the evening, and there aren't many other foreigners in this area. In fact, I have not seen a single one that I can recall. And so I was walking along, and these two girls were walking the opposite direction of me, walking towards me. And as I neared them, they both looked at me with this sort of like they recognized me kind of a look. At first I thought that they might have been viewers of mine and they were about to say like, hey, I watch your videos or something, but they didn't say that. They sort of got my attention and said like, where are you from? And just kind of made themselves generally like friendly and like they were saying hi and stuff. And so I told them I was from the United States. I was perfectly happy to talk with some locals here. I haven't been in South Korea for long, and I'm just kind of getting acquainted with the country and getting a feel for it. And they seemed perfectly nice and friendly. I think they were perfectly nice and friendly. As you will see, then it is not a like super insidious scam, although it might be more insidious than it appeared at the outset, all depending. And so we chit-chat for a couple of minutes there, and then they say to me, we're going to this traditional Korean ceremony, and we'd love it if you would join us. It will involve like wearing traditional Korean clothes, and there will be fruits and tea and a ceremony, and it'll only take like 20 minutes or so. You could just pop over right now and experience this with us, and it'll be a nice Korean experience. And my initial feeling was, it's 8:30 in the evening, I just had dinner, I don't really want to be like, presented with some meal or snacks or whatever. I don't drink tea because I don't like caffeine, and so I avoid all like tea, coffee, anything caffeine related. And it's late, and 20 minutes very often does not mean 20 minutes when someone comes up to you on the street, or a foreign person who wants to introduce you to this or that thing is usually not a 10, 15, 20 minute sort of a deal. And it was just late in the evening and I just wasn't in the mood for it. And so I said, yeah, I'm headed to my hotel. I need to like go do some things, and I think I'm not really interested. And they sort of pushed it, and they were trying to cajole me into it, saying, it'll be very short and you don't get this opportunity all that often. And, they were definitely kind of pushing it a little bit. And finally I managed to make it clear that I wasn't going to join them then, but they wanted to meet with me the next day. And so they set up a meeting time and place at the subway station. And so she said, how about if we meet at 2 p.m. At this particular exit point of the subway station, and we can go do the ceremony then. And then they asked me like which hotel I was staying at, and I pretended that I didn't know the name of it. I couldn't remember it. It is kind of hard to pronounce anyways. But they asked for like my WhatsApp and my phone number, and I sort of tried to skirt around that, and I offered my email address, and then we parted ways and agreed to see them the next afternoon. After like 2 minutes, they came like running after me as I was walking along down the street, and they asked for my phone number again because they were concerned that they wouldn't be able to get in touch with me if there was a change in the time, if they were late or whatever. And so I was like, okay, whatever, and I gave them my phone number. Worst thing, they can send me a text message or a phone call, and I can ignore it if I want to. And so I said goodbye to them, and I went on my way and got back to my hotel room. And the first thing that I did when I got back to my hotel room here is I opened up the computer and I searched on Google for South Korea, Seoul, scam, traditional clothing ceremony, something like that. And up pops up a whole bunch of articles and videos of people who had been presented with this exact same scenario of two people coming up to them on the street and being told, it'll be a traditional Korean ceremony, you'll get dressed in traditional Korean clothes, there will be fruits. It was like the exact same thing. And so I watched a video of this one girl who got suckered into this, and she ended up going with the people to the place where this ceremony was happening. They had told her, like, lots of foreigners do this. That is exactly what they said to me as well. Like, it's a common thing. There will be other foreigners there. She gets there. There are no other foreigners there. There are lots of other Koreans. It's like a big room with lots of people in it. And what it turns out to be is basically a cult. It is people trying to recruit, foreigners or probably locals as well, into this cult. I don't know if they're all the same or there are different ones or what, but it is definitely something you want to try to avoid. It might not be, so bad. You might just have a kind of weird experience. Maybe it's even like worth it. It'd be fun to, go with a hidden camera and capture the experience and show what it's actually like, but I'm not in the mood for finding out. And some of the accounts did say that they expected the person to give them money before they left. But in the case of this one young girl, I don't think she ended up paying them anything, but they dressed her up in these traditional Korean, or maybe not even like traditional Korean clothes, but just like their cult attire or whatever. They like asked her to bow and try to say these certain like chants, and they asked her to bow like 50 times apparently, and then they wanted to take her over to this other place, and there was the eating of the fruits and everything, and I guess it was all part of a scheme to try to get her interested in joining this cult. And finally she managed to break free, get out of there. I'm not sure exactly how long she ended up staying there. It might have been an hour or something like that, but she described it as being a uncomfortable, unpleasant experience that she wished that she had avoided. And so definitely keep your eyes open for that. If anyone else has had a experience with the same sort of a situation, post some comments below and tell me what happened. I'm curious. Maybe this was something different, maybe it would have just been a 20-minute thing, and then you say, I'm not interested, and then they let you go. It could have been a quirky, insider look at some aspect of Korean culture. Maybe it isn't, something to necessarily avoid if you want to just do something weird and different. But I just wasn't in the mood myself for the variable of what might happen, and that is why I chose not to go along with them at the time as well. Just it sounded a little fishy and a little weird. And so if people do approach you on the street with a scenario such as that, then I would definitely recommend coming up with an excuse to just keep on walking. All right, more coming from South Korea. See ya.